And we're good to go. All right. I'm good to
Was that
go.
a self-applause? Hey, don't break your fucking arm patting yourself on the back, buddy.
Hey, look, it works both ways. I mean, I got a good cue mark, and I'm getting myself hyped up.
Oh, my God.
Damn, boy. We got Joe Mangeletto on the call with us.
Nope.
Yeah, man.
Not at all.
Oh, boy. Joe is on here. Reporting live from cell block D23.
That's it.
Show us those abs, Joe.
They got me in these refugee bunks. They won't let me shave. They won't let me eat.
You know, I just texted Blythe a picture of you on the show. I said, guess who's back? She wrote, hey, it's a whole squad show. She's been like, she's been like, look, it's Cesar's time to be a father. I want you to allow him to have all the time he needs. I know it's going to be.
Do not bother that man.
Yeah.
You let him be a dad.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's all been nah. She's been curious when you'd come back, but I'm like, yo, when C's ready, he'll come back. And she's like, don't lie to me. How much does it hurt? I'm like, every single day. Like, God damn it.
Blythe is like a small time, not small time, I should say large time business guru. And she's probably like, look, I understand he's your friend, but the PTO, it's gone
There's
on
a presentation to show you, Botter, about why you don't bother C right now.
It's gone long enough. All right, bring him back. He's taking advantage of his time off.
Yeah, she's like, look, you gotta waive the 401k or something, Botter. He can't have both. All right,
I'm on break.
Yeah.
It's paternity leave. It's all good.
That's it. Butter's like almost spit his drink out when you said that, Ed.
I'm like, unpaid paternity leave.
He's like, we don't have paternity leave here at Marvel, true believer.
Next thing you know, there'll be union talk. Oh, can't have that.
The short box Teamsters. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, all right, let's not get any more ideas, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey.
Watch that.
Oh, I'm feeling good now. Let's get started. Yo, short
I didn't
box.
miss that.
What if your baby's first words is yo?
I think I'll kill myself.
And probably ban me from the house.
To have failed that early as a father is the worst feeling.
Oh man, happy Father's Day. All right. Yo, Short Box Nation, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 358. This one will be dedicated to catching up with recent comic news and developments in comic culture. And most importantly, we'll be paying our respect to two certified comic legends that have recently left this physical realm, Neal Adams and George Perez, respectively. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show. My name is Botter Milligan, and today I'm joined by an incredible squad of co-hosts. In the studio with me is Edmund Danzart, a.k.a. Edbot5000. What's up, Ed? How you doing?
What's up?
Calling in remotely from the comfort of home is Ashley Laney Ahoy. What's up, Ashley? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. Also calling in to help us pay respects to the legends we lost is our boy, Cesar Cordero. I'm going to give him a round of applause.
Hey.
It's been a minute.
Dear Mama, you are appreciated.
A.k.a. Papa Cordero going forward. I hope you get used to that nickname, Papa. All right, man. How's everyone doing, man? How are y'all all doing? Did anyone do anything for Free Comic Book Day? Everyone watch Doctor Strange? How's everyone doing?
I saw Doctor Strange, and I went to see Primus last night.
You son of a bitch.
Yes.
Where did they play?
They played a set of their stuff, and then they played a tribute to Rush, Farewell to Kings. They played the whole album.
Cool.
And then they encored with about 3 or 4 more Primus songs.
Nice.
It was pretty awesome.
Did they do
That's
John
good
the
shit.
Fisherman?
No, they did a weird set. You know, it's definitely some deeper cuts. They did do Winona's Big Brown Beaver.
Sure.
In the encore.
Classic.
And they played the Duracell. These two have no idea what we're talking
Dude,
about.
I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that Ed finally has his outlet back for old guy rock music.
But that St. John's Amphitheater, man, they need a fat boy section because those seats are tight, son.
You're talking about
Me and
in
my
St.
buddy
Augustine.
went. Yeah. They played
yeah,
at the
okay.
amphitheater. Yeah, so we sat up higher because I'm old and I don't need to be up front of the stage anymore.
I hear you. That's
Those
where I
days
sit.
are long gone. And then Dude, those my buddy of mine, he's a little bigger than me, so we were just like arms folded, fat guys, squeezed in like sardines in those chairs.
I saw Old Crow Medicine Show at that venue with my buddy Matt, aka Matt Attack Stinson, and we were our arm skin was like warm and touching each other.
Yeah.
And the whole night I'm thinking, I'm not against this, but that's just me, and I don't know if I have Matt's arm consent.
There was a lot of leg touching, and my boy was like in front of me and beside me at the same time. You fold the arms, you just kind of get wider.
You know what? Since I'm going to speak dad language, they call that a boppy pillow. That's what that is. It's for adults. It's the adult boppy pillow.
Damn. Who says that you don't learn something new here on the Short Box? That's just the first of many today, ladies and gents. Ashley, how about you? How was your weekend?
It was good. I went and saw Doctor Strange on Thursday night. The people sitting next to me, my only complaint, people sitting next to me completely ruined the Moon Knight finale for me.
Oh, shit.
Just sitting there, just like describing it in detail. And I didn't feel like I could lean over and be like, hey, can you please stop?
Oh,
so I just let it go.
Josh,
Ashley,
make them
no,
stop.
No, Ashley, that's when you say, hey guys, hey, hi, sorry, I couldn't help it over here. Do you mind doing me a favor and shut the fuck up, please?
I didn't want to get confrontational.
Hey,
Ashley,
look, guys, hey, I'm excited to see Doctor Strange. Really cool. I'm really pumped. Hey, do me a favor. Hey, get AIDS and die, okay?
Wow.
Guys,
Ashley,
hey,
real quick.
get AIDS and die.
Please tell me that you at least followed them to their car, took note of their license plate, and you're looking up their address now.
Yeah, and
right?
plotting your
I'm
revenge.
somebody's father. Just want to let you guys know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not confrontational if you
you
get
have
them from
nothing to lose.
behind
You don't
if they
have a
can't see you.
That's it. Ashley,
All right.
do yourself a favor and pull a knife next time. This is why we're here.
All right, and Liam Neeson, to you, how was your week been like Liam Neeson?
Man, honestly, well, my daughter is 5 weeks now, and it's like to the point where I am starting to see, like, she's starting to recognize Sarah and I. Like, when we kind of hold her up close to our faces, she's
Who
like
are you
smiling. Yeah, she gives like a little smile, and she's like laughing, and she's getting older fast. And I'm thankful. Like, all these people, they're like, oh, you're going to miss these times. You know, these times, they go by quick. First and foremost, I think that's secretly tied to their sudden awareness of their mortality, that as this child is getting older, they themselves are dying. So they have this weird sort of projection where they're like, oh, I wish I could go back to those times. Nah, motherfucker, you wish you were the Highlander and you could live for fucking ever. I want my kid to be, I know I'm going to die. Hell, I'm probably going to die the classiest of brown guy deaths, heart disease. So, pick your diabetes, heart disease. Just pick something. Yeah. There's a brown guy dartboard of death that I'm just play every day. And I just want my daughter to run around, and I can joke around with her, and I can show her comics and just be silly. And I love that she is growing and learning and starting to, engage with the world around her and with both me and Sarah. So it's that's pretty much what I've been doing, is just changing diapers, losing sleep, feeding. And I lost 15 pounds, so that's pretty cool.
Hey,
not as a result. Thank you. Not as a
That
result
was
of
quick.
stress either. Like it's like I made the joke about being in like a refugee camp, but like when you got nothing to do but feed a kid and change diapers, you get fucking yoked up, son. I just go to my fucking garage and just gonna do a couple sets. Just do a couple sets. And then like nature takes over and is like, you're a father now. You need to fucking get some extra juice in you. And I'm like, yeah,
You're
I
like
do.
holding the baby, doing like box jumps and shit.
Sarah laughs, but I do squats with Sammy in my arms. So
Oh man,
Hey, look, man, perfect amount of weight.
it's true. It's true. My knees are shot too. That's on the dartboard as well. Brown guy dartboard. So
I like it.
nah,
I like
just raising a human, man, and looking forward to talking to you guys about comics. So
Good shit. And on that topic, I want to go ahead and wish all of the mothers out there that might be tuning in. A happy Mother's Day. We are recording this on Mother's Day, so big shout outs to all the mothers.
Big shout outs to Botter making us work on Mother's Day.
For the
Botter,
record,
I'll make you work Mother's Day, Milligan.
Botter, your moms can wait until the nighttime.
You
or
want a
something.
vacation, son? Oh, I'm giving you a vacation from poverty. Get to work.
Wow.
Oh man, I appreciate you guys so much. It's good to have the full. It's good to have the full crew back. But with that being said, let's address the listeners. And then Patreon right here. All right, and then out of Patreon. Smart business advice aside, today's episode will be focused on a handful of recent comic and pop culture headlines, articles, and announcements, individually picked by each one of us to highlight and share with you. So let's go ahead and get into that. Right. Unfortunately, I think it's important that we go ahead and start off with the losses and sad news first. Me and Ed were talking about how last we completely forgot about mentioning or bringing up Neal Adams' last episode, but I think me and Ed were talking about it definitely deserved a dedicated segment and whatnot. So Ashley, with that said, I don't know why I brought that up, but Ashley, I wanted to go to you. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Ashley, how about you kick us off and let's talk about the most recent news and an unfortunate loss that the comic book culture got to unfortunately deal with this weekend.
Yeah, so May 6th, George Perez passed away from cancer at the age of 67. He was just so legendary. And I know I've just seen him at so many conventions with his like bright colored shirt. So this one like really hit me. This was really, not that anyone was like super surprised, but it's still tough when it happens.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't think it was maybe the biggest, I know for me it wasn't the biggest surprise considering that, him and his estate, his family had put out the word back in December about his pancreatic cancer and, having 6 months to live. So I guess I just wasn't expecting it to be so soon, and maybe I wasn't really ready for like the weight of like the reality of it, like it's kind of been in the back of my head when I've seen like some of these videos and interviews, but
you're just seeing the pictures of him and you can see him just getting really thin and stuff. It's like, man, that's tough.
I think what was a little misleading was just how jovial he still was, and like how his personality still was like, and spirits were really high, despite the guy's only got 6 months to live. Like it never felt like he wanted anyone to focus on the negative.
Yeah. And what's the good thing that I can take away from it is like he got to see the love, before passing. Said. He got to see like all his peers and all the tributes and stuff. He got to see that, So that's not everyone gets that chance. So that's if I can take any good thing about it, I'm glad he got to, I guess, soak that in, that adoration and that respect, and see the effect he had on so many people. That's really cool.
Yeah. And I know, see, it hit you pretty hard, too, man. 'Cause me and you were texting yesterday about everything. How are you holding up?
Yeah, it's something I check every night on my social media. If there was a post from, either friends or loved ones that kind of post for him on the page, representatives and whatnot. And, they would show, like you said, current. I mean, since, we heard in November that this was going down, it's just kind of, it's still shocking because I think it was, I told Sarah, I was like, hey, George Perez is gone. And she kind of like, because I had been talking about him since, I guess we've been doing the show, she kind of like through osmosis, kind of knows who some of these people are. She's not invested in sort of mainstream comics. She'll read every now and then. But she's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm sorry to hear that. He's one of the greats. And I was like, yeah, that's right. He is one of the greats. And I'm not going to say was, because his artwork is alive and it's still here, and as long as we still champion that and still, pick up Crisis, pick up fucking the Infinity Gauntlet, pick up War of the Gods, like that stuff is alive, that's his life. He spent hours of his life invested into creating artwork, and that directly translates to physical energy, in my opinion. So it's still there, right? Like, and then you read on his, I guess I read on his Facebook, it was like, hey guys, so this is the post that we all knew was coming. but nobody wanted to read. And I'm like, shit. And I knew it was like one of those, like, you know how it's a long one, it says see more, and then there's an ellipsis, so you kind of click on it and you're like, fuck. So you just I read the whole thing, and it's just like, hey, he passed away yesterday, but we wanted to, he died comfortably, and he was at peace, and he was with his wife. I'm like, man, he shuffled off this mortal coil like a pro, and he stepped into legend, So
well said.
It's weird. It's just weird because it's like I am legitimately sad. Like when I read the post, like I was not in good shape. I was crying, and I was like, man. But at the same time, it's like this weird sort of like, but he's not gone, Like we all know, like comics are fucking forever, man. They're not going anywhere, Like things have tried to murder comics for a long time, for like 100 years plus, that comics will never die. They're not. And if you're a part of that legacy, then you won't die, and you're a legend, To quote Neal Adams, who's also a legend, if you take the best artist in the world and you take the best writer in the world and you tell them to create something together, it's going to be called a comic book. And I agree with that. So that's what I got to say.
And when you consider someone like George Perez and his body of work, like I think legacy is the absolute proper term to for someone like George Perez. Like everything that man has worked on and touched has resonated and left such a remarkable impact on, I think, on comic books and fans alike. If you go on Twitter right now, I mean, the amount of comic book creators who are sharing stories, and one that I recently just read before hopping on this call was Donnie Cates was sharing a story about being a young kid trying to get into a convention or a panel to see George Perez, and George had noticed a lot of people being turned away from the panel, and he like purposely stalled the panel to sign comics and look at portfolios just to shoot him a bone, and I don't know, I the more I think about like what he's done and reading these stories, it's only it's only fitting that it makes me think about the nickname that we gave him on our Artist Spotlight episode, and how he like truly deserved that nickname of being like Mr. Nice Guy. Like there's a lot of creators and comic book legends in his among his peer group that are respected, but I'd almost go ahead and say that I don't think no one was as liked, and enjoyed like George Perez was.
Yeah, like I said, he's one of those guys that I don't think anybody, you can go across all the range of personalities as colorful as they can be as artists go, and how aloof and off-putting they can be despite the talent, but no one had anything bad to say about about George. And I just saw, like I said, when he was diagnosed, I will recommend, Rob Liefeld did a really nice podcast talking about him, because when Rob was a kid, he was actually George's, when the convention's out there, he was actually a runner for George. He was basically like getting prints for him. He's and he said, he's like, he could have treated me like jerk off, but he was like super cool to me, always supportive. Congratulated me when, and especially with Rob, how divisive he can be, and how like a lot of people didn't like those kind of that group of image guys, right. And George was like always, supportive of him.
Yeah, but have you seen Rob Liefeld's ass in those jeans? In those jeans,
he's a good look. He's still a good looking guy.
Sweet ass.
But he did a really nice tribute, and I just saw this thing. I never knew it existed, but Teen Titans Go did a thing with Marv Wolfman and George Perez where they actually put them in the cartoon.
Yeah, that's cool. That.
And that's in whether you like the show or not, how many people are going to know George Perez now because of that show? How many kids are going to know those guys and know, hey, these are the guys that made this possible,
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like, this is the generation that looks up shit, So, like, if they see that, if there's an Easter egg of any kind, they don't want to have FOMO, essentially.
Yep.
So they want to know, like, oh, who's that guy in the Hawaiian or Bermuda shirt with the comic characters on it?
They drew him in the Hawaiian shirt.
Of course,
they did the voices. I mean, Marvin, George did the voices, and that's such a cool. They didn't have to do that. I mean, there's no reason for them to, in the theme of that show. That was just such a cool gesture,
Right.
And I happily envy any of those kids that get to experience George Perez, like any one of George Perez's many bodies of work, whether it be for the first time is what I wanted to finish. But imagine like reading, I don't know, Infinity Gauntlet or Crisis on Infinite Earths for the first time and being an aspiring, comic book artist or something like that would be awesome to experience again. So actually,
I'm sorry. No, all I was going to say is that it's like you were talking about social media presence and how different people were chiming in. Kurt Busiek cracks me up, man. He was like talking about, yo, Marvel and DC, y'all need to fucking put your differences aside and release his body of work so that way we can all, like, this dude was having fucking peace talks between Russia and the United States.
They did it. They're going to republish the Avengers in
Wait, are they going to do another round? Because they did a very limited, like 7,000 print for the JLA and Avengers, and that got a lot of people a little upset. But I mean, it was such short notice. I know Kurt Busiek was like, "Look, cut them some slack. It was short notice. There's a lot of legalities."
I think they'll make a paperback version of that.
That'd be cool.
That everybody can get the hands on.
Rob Zombie was my favorite post because I think I told you, Botter, that he was. He put dude, Rob Zombie of all people, but also I'm not surprised because he fucking loves comics.
He's a nerdy guy despite the crazy serial killer look. But yeah, he worked on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
He was a production assistant.
Before he was a metal guy.
He put hey, we lost a legend today, and he put a really heartfelt post about George Perez. And he had all these pictures from conventions, like when George was like super chubby and had like a huge fro, and he was like, he said he came out with guns fucking blazing. He was like, yo, George Perez is the best Fantastic Four artist ever. And I'm like, damn, bro, even better than Kirby? Calm down, son. God damn, Rob Zombie out here shocking comics instead of like music, bro. Stay in your lane. So, but he said something that when I went and saw him at his convention when I was like 11 or 12, I paid $5 for a commission. I wanted him to draw the Thing, and it was only $5, and no one really knew who he was then. And he says, I still got it, and it's priceless, obviously, because of who the man is, but it's priceless to me, not for money, because of who the man is. I was like, oh my god, Rob Zombie. Who knew? The soul of a poet inside that crazy man.
Actually, have you ever? You might have told this story a few times, but if you don't mind entertaining us, have you met George Perez before? You've met George Perez before.
He
right?
was at that super tiny comic book convention in Jacksonville.
That's right.
I don't remember the name.
Hall of Heroes,
it.
I believe.
Yeah.
Hall of Heroes. And I remember I was working in a comic shop.
I got a story for that. No, go ahead. Ashley, please. I got a story.
And then the comic shop owner, like, I wanted to go pick up George Perez at the airport so bad, and he was like, "No, my wife's car's cleaner, so she's gonna go get him." I was like, "Oh God, yeah." So I missed out, man. That would have been so nice. But yeah, no, he was. I just met him the one time, just because I was working at the shop of the guy that was helping get that together, and he was just super nice. And I found out going through I just spent like an hour on the internet last night looking up George Perez stuff. He wrote and directed his own movies for FetishCon, which I didn't know. But I was like, man, what a guy to really just really live life.
Well said.
He was like, this is going to make me happy. I'm going to do it. It just made me laugh when I found out there were like multiple movies, like fantasy movies that he wrote and directed.
Okay, the takeaway from this is not FetishCon. Ashley, how dirty is your car?
Hey, it's dirtier than FetishCon. We'll just leave it at that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, what the fuck? You got chocolate stains on your fucking inside the console, in the small panels, and you got lasagna on your windshield. Like, what's going on?
Damn.
No, it's just dog hair, man. I guess he was too good for a little dog hair. I would have lint rollered it. I would have lint rollered his shirt when he got out.
I'm sorry. Did you say lint rollered?
Lint rollered his shirt when he got out.
I'd have lint rollered it. Shit. Come on, George. I lint rollered my car, you shit.
Lint rollered. It's a lint roller.
And I guess to Ashley's point, I find some solace in that, right? That he lived.
That he didn't really get to see Ashley's car.
Yeah.
I find solace.
Dog hair everywhere.
I find solace in that too.
Yeah. Thank God, because I'm sure after that point he'd be like, I don't fuck with the short box. Look, they're unclean pigs. Well, actually, before I finish that thought,
Sorry,
I want to No. I want to piggyback. I can bring up the story that came to mind. George Perez. I remember that convention, Ashley, because I went to that. I attended that one with the goal of getting getting a little interview with George Perez, and
I remember.
he denied me so smoothly, though, man, like a straight, like a world class gentleman. He was like, "Look, I don't do interviews, but I can tell you what I can do. I can go ahead and sign one of these prints for your dad," because I had told him my dad was a big Perez fan, loved his Avengers work. He was like, "I'll sign one of these for your dad, and you can go ahead and benefit." What was his charity?
His charity. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Like he was like,
because he wasn't he was just all the proceeds were going to charity.
What was the name of his charity?
I don't
it was Heroes Initiative. It was the Heroes Initiative.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he did it so smooth.
He was like, I'll let you have the opportunity of giving me money to this charity.
That's
He was always smooth with it, man.
You got to watch out for them Boricuas, man. You got to watch out.
Yeah. I mean, even
Puerto
at
Rican
other
boys, you better watch out.
even at other conventions, I mean, he would do whatever drawing you wanted, but he was always there representing Heroes Initiative. I don't think he really, Ed, to your point, I don't know if he took any money for sketches, maybe commissions for sure, but not sketches. And I think that just speaks to the way he lived life. Back to what Ashley was saying, this was a guy that obviously like loved doing comic books, and that's just how he lived life. He was so jolly, and I'll be honest, like I can only hope I'm as lucky as him, when my time comes to be able to die.
You won't be. You will not be. Though. Okay, you can hope, but you will not be. I'm sorry. You will not be.
It's not happening.
It's not going to be. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that was fucked up. Damn, dude.
You know how hard it was to keep a straight face, man?
That was funny.
No,
shit.
it's like
worth it.
Wish in one hand, bought her shit in the other.
Worth it. Worth it. So
look, we gotta laugh, man. We gotta laugh.
That's good for sure. So according to C, I'll be dying in a fiery plane crash, and I'll feel every minute of it.
No, man. I don't wish that on you. You'll just die alone.
Oh man, did I tell you how happy I am to have you back?
I'm going for gasps.
He's got to make up. He's got to make up for a month.
I'm not going for laughs. I'm going for gasps.
That's it. But I'll say one last thing on my part, and that's, and this might come off a little selfish, but it definitely put a wet blanket on Free Comic Book Day. I thought it was so ironic that he passed on Free Comic Book Day, but then I ended up looking at it from a different light. That what better day, for a comic book legend, for a man who absolutely loved what he was doing, contributed so much, to pass away on a day that brings so many people joy, and to be associated with that. I mean, I don't know. I just felt like it was a very weird, ironic, and fitting day.
It's poetic. It's poetic.
Poetic.
Man,
thank you. That's a better word.
The man passed away, and on that, it's like, without being cliche, like life is a circle. Like. The new comics are being put out by new and fresh blood, but they wouldn't be here without the blood put in from the previous generation. And those guys are gone but not forgotten, because you can still purchase and enjoy their work and give it to other people. So this is what it's all about, man. Free Comic Book Day is it was kind of like a toast. I kind of looked at it, like a cosmic toast to the man.
And would you say life is also a highway?
Life is also a highway.
All night long?
I do.
Ed's been waiting to get these off. Ed's been waiting to get these off, man.
Can we go back to making fun of Botter? I'm very sensitive right now. I can't handle
the only
this.
The only thing sensitive right now are those fucking eyes. You've got sunglasses in the daytime. It is like 3:00.
Dude, I'm not
He's
kidding.
the day walker.
So, dude, Butter asked me, "Yo, see, why do you got those sunglasses on?" I'm like, man, I've got so much fucking luggage to check in underneath my eyes. Like, it's bad. Like, I look like Jim Davis drew me, like a Garfield drawing. The way his eyes are always halfway
all the
open.
circles.
Yes, dude. Like, I'm fucked up right now. But I love my daughter.
All right. Well, I want everyone to know, for any of our Florida listeners on the topic of George Perez, they are having a memorial service that will take place at MegaCon Orlando at 6 p.m. on Sunday, May 22nd, which will be about a week or two. after this episode airs. So if you're in the Florida area or if you plan on making it out to MegaCon, I'm sure that memorial service will be a fantastic one to send off our boy George. Let's go ahead and close this out. I think we should do him and his body of works some justice. Let's go ahead and each go around and share maybe our favorite body of work. So that way, if there's anyone listening that's not attuned to the greatness of George Perez, they have a jumping on point, something to go towards. Ashley, how about you kick us off? What's your favorite George Perez body of work?
Oh, I mean, Crisis on Infinite Earths, because I look at those panels and I'm like, that would take me 2 weeks each to like not even do it as well. Like the amount of detail and characters and background that he got into those like blows my mind.
For sure.
Yeah, well said. Ed, what about you?
Outside of like the usual like Teen Titans I really like, but Future Imperfect, Peter David, the Hulk.
Good pull.
Yeah. That's such a. I love kind of these Elseworlds things, and that throne room or that trophy room is so iconic to me, and I think that's just like, it's not like I would say peak Perez, but it is really good. That's probably one of my favorite Hulk stories, if not my favorite Hulk story.
Good stuff. What about you, Sue?
Terror of Trigon, man. Teen Titans. And the Judas contract for sure. Yeah, like it's so good. So good.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just piggyback off of Ashley's, because Crisis on Infinite Earths is honestly, I think, what made me started my fandom for DC. I think it was like the spark to make me like really get into DC, and it is a Herculean like effort to realize that George Perez drew every single character in DC Comics in those 12 issues. Like that is mind-boggling. And then if you want to get into his staging, his detail, the emotion he was able to like keep with every character and composition. I mean, the dude is a master, and I think that is a like masterclass level comic book for anyone that can look at it and study it and realize the amount of work it takes to be great in comic books.
Dude,
I'll recommend that.
You sent me a text about that, and you were like, "Hey, he's gone. I'm sure he's in that great beyond." And Jack Kirby's like, "Here, have a stogie. Have a stogie, kid. You earned it." Like
that's what I like to think.
It's I'm there with you, man. I hope that's true.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and transition to another comic book legend that we lost, and see had brought up his name a little bit earlier, but that is Neal Adams. He passed away, and this is what makes this episode a little heavy, is the fact that we've lost.
It doesn't have to be though, man. Like I know. Look, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. We want to have our reverence. We want to have our respect. Obviously, these guys were titans. They left a huge footprint, like Godzilla kaiju size footprint, as far as art is concerned. Not just in comics, just art. Period. And, but I don't know. It's strange, man. Like, they're not going to live forever, and we've had so many 1-2 punches from people in the business just leaving us. Even since we were, in the '90s, like Kirby dying and that sort of thing is like. Man, it's like all the we're unfortunately at the age where all these guys that created the Silver Age are going to start, slowly shuffling off this mortal coil.
Sure. I guess it was just kind of rough to have it back to back, right? Like, Neal Adams passes away, April 28th, and then George Perez shortly after. It was just a little bit just too close for comfort. But I do get your point. See, like when you look at the lives they led, it's like there's no reason for sadness, only celebration. And if there's anyone to celebrate, Neal Adams, sucks he passed away, but the dude lived for 80 years, and if and I'm almost confident that man lived a really great life, but unfortunately he passed away due to complications, due to sepsis, which is a terrible disease and whatnot to have. But he passed away on April 28th, and it's safe to say highly acclaimed would be an understatement. And longtime comic fans definitely don't need an introduction to Neal Adams, but just in case if you're listening and you're new to comics or you need a refresher, Neal Adams has influenced multiple generations of fans and other comic book artists and creators with his style. He's co-created characters like Ra's al Ghul, the Man-Bat, created one of DC's first black superheroes with John Stewart Green Lantern, which we talked about in a lot of detail in our John Stewart Spotlight episode. And in addition to that, he was also like a selfless champion, right? An advocate for creator rights early on, helping Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster be quote unquote rightfully compensated for Superman. I mean, the dude's accomplished a lot.
And even getting their name like created by, like what we just take for granted now.
Yeah.
Like just even having them in the title page, like Superman, and then created by. You know, it's
and
it's
for
huge.
for those of you guys that are kind of wondering, sort of like, okay, well, entry level, like bottom line it for me, like what is this? If you're wondering the transition between when Batman was corny and when he started being drawn photorealistically, that's all Neal Adams. I mean, granted, there's a little bit of Carmine Infantino, transition, but it's like he's spotting the bench. He's like, you got one more. But at the same time, like, he's the dude for photorealism. Like, he's the guy that was like, these characters can be drawn. Let's not forget, the guy also revitalized X-Men when it was getting horrible numbers. Like it was not doing well. So if you're trying to be like, okay, well, put a pin in it for me. Who is Neal Adams? Neal Adams is the photorealistic dude. Like, prides himself on anatomy, prides himself on fundamentals. Like, a lot of people out there would not have careers if it wasn't for him. And I like to think that when he gets up there, Denny O'Neil's got the crazy red, puffed out hair, and he's just like, here's a drink, pal. Didn't expect to see you so soon, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. I feel like Neal Adams is up there with all the other comic, legends, like just,
I did the first, black superhero at DC,
That's what I'm
right?
saying, man.
Meanwhile, Jack Kirby's like, pump the brakes, son. Pump the brakes.
Yeah. And like I said, he had a lot of clout, and he, his continuum, like basically getting like comic artists to work in like, advertising and storyboarding. And he could be one of those guys that has that clout. And when I was younger, hearing stories of him being, such a brutal critic to like the up and comers, like especially with like Frank Miller. Like Frank Miller would come up to him and it's like, this is garbage. You're never going to work in this industry, kid. And then Frank Miller's like, this is, I'm doing Daredevil now. It's like, all right. So like stories like that, the older I get, the more I get it. When I was younger, I was like, man, F you, old man. Saying.
I'm sure Frank Miller thought the same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure he did too. But I think and I kind of almost thought of it as almost like a gatekeeping. Like, I don't want these young guns coming in, but it was, steel sharpening steel. He wanted these guys to be the best. That way they know their worth. That way they can call their shots more.
Tough love.
Yeah, and then Neal was the guy that if he is having issues with the publishers, I'll go draw this Hot Wheels ad and make more money than doing a whole comic. It's like he had options when commercial illustration was a viable alternative.
He knew his worth, man.
Yeah.
He knew his worth.
That's the thing.
He knew the game.
And the thing with getting artists their original pages back, which is crazy that never happened. That was an issue. That just boggles my mind. But
I think
as far as no, and like I said, and to me, he's on that Mount Rushmore of like influences. Like, you have Kirby, and then you have Neal Adams, basically kind of influencing that generation after, from
the 70s, 80s.
Yeah, from like, guys like George Perez, John Byrne, Jim Lee, those are Neal Adams guys, like the Image guys, that
Bill Sienkiewicz, Brent Anderson.
Yeah, Sienkiewicz. Like in the like Eric Larson and McFarlane were kind of Kirby guys, but like Jim Lee was a Neal Adams guy.
Oh, yeah.
And those are kind of, you can kind of separate the two branches that these artists kind of go on, and those are like the two key influences, Yep.
Ashley, what did Neal Adams' legacy mean to you?
I mean, I have never said that I'm like I don't dislike Batman. I've just never been a huge Batman fan, but all of my Batman comics that I own are Neal Adams covers that I've just pulled out of the back issues and been like, these are amazing. Like, I haven't really read them, but I have a little collection of that. Like, that's how dynamic it is that I would just buy it for the cover just because it looks so cool.
Yeah. Speaking about covers, I got to say, I think Neal Adams probably draws the best covers with dialogue. Like, I love any time that he's got a comic book cover that's got like the character talking with a word bubble. I think about like his Detective Comics and like there's a Strange Adventures. I think it's like 207 with Deadman on the cover, and it's got just one simple word balloon, but it really kind of brings you into the comic book straight from the cover. And I think he's always been kind of a master at at that, like having very striking and engaging figures and poses.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it's almost like looking at. He draws them like they're Greek, Roman, like gods and statues, like the way that they're just so powerful looking.
But they're like done in a, like they can actually, these people can actually walk around. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're super bulky, super over exaggerated.
There's a sense of like they're dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Like
this is my flex.
My boy. See, what are you holding up for our audio listeners? What are you holding up?
This is a remake of an original kind of golden age issue of Batman, The Demon of Gothos Mansion. It's Batman number 227. And Neal Adams kind of did his tribute. It's like a tribute cover back when tribute covers weren't really sort of a thing. And he was just kind of like, I got this.
Yeah. I don't know, man. And the other thing I was going to say is like his art was always gave me like a sense of like romanticism, right? Like there was like you could feel like the emotion and the characters like emoting. I think about, I'll be honest, I'm not that familiar with his Batman, so I haven't really dived into it like that. But I'm definitely more.
That's
so
why you'll die alone.
Oh man, rightfully so. There's someone out there like rightfully so. I'm definitely more familiar with his Green Arrow and Green Lantern run, right? Like the fact that he was able to tell these stories of like socially relevant topics like racism, ecology, and drug abuse so dynamically and make it interesting for a kid like myself who just wanted to see superheroes punch each other. Like there was something so realistic about the way he drew these characters. It felt like real life, like these characters were real life people.
And then it's kind of silly as it looks, but man, that if you looked and read the pages, the Superman and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Dude, that is...
Well, there you go. Like, Potter, you mentioned romanticism, and that's the perfect word for it, considering the Greco-Roman ideal of beauty is what, their gods look like, right? And we all know that superheroes are heavily influenced by, Greek and Roman ideal of what the body looks like. So, since he was a body guy, it's an apt description.
Thank you. That
was called a compliment, Potter. I don't know if you know that.
I said thank you. I said, thank you. See,
yeah, I'm just letting you know you rarely get them, so I just wanted to.
But I'm not trying to attach myself to anyone because I'm gonna die alone, so I don't want to get my expectations higher than. But where were you saying that?
I was just kind of going back and just like that was another thing, the social issues, because that, and like I said, I just recently just kind of looked through it because growing up I thought, because Muhammad Ali's impact and influence was, before, I didn't really understand it because I wasn't around for it. But just that, that book and just how beautifully it's done is it's kind of an interesting concept as it is. But it's like, that's probably some of his best work along with the, I don't know if you guys have seen his Deadly Hands of Kung Fu covers. Whew, man, those I think if Frank Frazetta drew more comics, it'd be very similar to that, 80s kind of Neal Adams stuff.
Dude, do you guys all follow the Cartoonist Kayfabe group? Are you guys in it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you see the George Perez pencils inked by Neal Adams?
I did not see that one yet.
Comic book page they put up, and somebody was like, "Look, it happened, guys. In our lifetime, it happened. George Perez penciled, Neal Adams inked. They had awesome. A basic classic Marvel team up."
Dang. Speaking
and it
about,
was Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that's like their early, or at least George Perez's first comic work.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah.
That's cool. On the topic of inking, only because we were talking about someone that was heavily influenced by Neal Adams, Bill Sienkiewicz, when we were doing our Moonlight Spotlight episode, Bill Sienkiewicz had shared a story in regards to Neal Adams and how him and Neal would always talk about inking and things like that. And Bill was saying that, and definitely paraphrasing, but Bill was sharing a story where he enjoyed the phone conversations. He would have phone calls that he would have with Neal Adams so much that sometimes he would purposely fuck up his inking, right? Just so Neal could call him and chew him out and he could have a chance to talk. And Bill was like, eventually I learned he'd also, and then Bill was like, I learned that he eventually would also just call you just a compliment. So then I just stopped fucking up because he'd also call you to be like, hey, you did this great and this and that. Yeah, man. And Ed, I had similar a similar attitude towards him too. I remember listening to a 2-part Fat Man on Batman interview with him, which is fantastic for the record. I mean, it really enlightened me to what he did, but I definitely had a feeling like, man, this guy's definitely kind of full of himself sometimes. But
do you had to be? That's the thing, right? Isn't that the point?
Yeah,
like you have to feel yourself, or else because no one's going to. Like,
and he wouldn't have gotten all those right if he was like a meek.
You'd get chewed up. You'd get chewed up in the industry.
No, you have to be a shark in this system to survive.
Had to be the Gene Simmons of comics.
And it's and even like when my kind of just, I guess I don't know if it's, I don't really talk about it, but just kind of like how I was like off put by it. I never said, and you can't say anything about his artwork.
No.
I said it's like, man, he seems kind of like a jerk, but man, he can. I mean, I can't say anything wrong about it. Yeah, this guy can draw whatever he says.
And that leads me to my point that Neal was a smart businessman, a savvy businessman, and he only pitched the truth, right? Like he's someone who did the work. And God damn it, he had the receipts. Like there's
preach.
I think
boy, you better preach. This guy's getting he's getting like hot and heavy over here. He's like, yo, I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman
for sure. And I mean, me and C me and you were talking about how we champion Todd McFarlane as kind of like that savvy business guy that's going to take no shit when it comes to
learn it by watching you, Dad.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But he was, I think you also can't. All of those elements made him a great teacher and mentor to so many other comic greats in the industry. I'll admit I wasn't aware of Krusty Bunkers. Are you guys familiar with like Krusty Bunkers?
No, I don't do drugs.
Right, it sounds like that.
No, somebody's father bought her, please. You sick bastard.
Ooh, that sounds so good coming from you, man. Congratulations.
Krusty Bunkers. Get out of here. But we're having a talk after the show. You set your life straight. You guys
is a chunky. Applicable here. But I recommend Krusty Bunkers was his art and design agency. And when if just a quick little Google search will pull up the Wikipedia page, but when you look at the long list of comic artists that were counted among their ranks, I mean, you've got folks like Rich Bruner, Rich Buckler, Howard Chaykin, Dennis Cohen. And Dennis Cohen had shared some really nice words last week saying, like, look, Neal Adams took me in when I was just, I was a 16-year-old black kid from Queens. I think he meant to say, like, we didn't have a lot of opportunities or shots. But Neal Adams took me into his studio, got me work, schooled me and, helped me and gave me the tools I needed to launch, Milestone. I mean, the dude was a teacher to so many. Steve Englehart, Claus Johnson, Jim Starlin. And Bernie Wrightson's name is also on that list of folks that worked, in his design agency. So dude has done it all.
A lot of people jobs too. So not only was his
at the risk of his own career too, right? Like think about he was putting himself out on the line. But to your point, it's kind of like, well, what are you going to tell me? I don't need this shit. I do it, because I love it.
I think I'd like to imagine that Frank Miller. He knew that Frank Miller would be like this little edgelord, so he told him what he needed to hear. Like he was like
looking back, I totally.
Yeah, it's like he's a greasy, pimple-faced, not exaggerated, long-haired Frank Miller's like, here's my stuff, man, and he's just like, it's shit. Hey kid, it's shit. Kill yourself. It's shit. And he's just like, he knew that at the that was the stuff that would get him like, fuck you, old man. I'm going to do this shit. I'm going to be the grittiest motherfucker ever,
It's like it lit a fire. It's like this kid's he's like, I see something here. Let me just keep pushing, Like
all that lapsed Catholicism, the Irish guilt, it's all bubbling to the top with old Frank Miller.
And we talked about George Perez, doing what he loved until to the very end. And Neal Adams, same thing, he passed away at 80. But this is a man that was just recently had worked with Mark Waid and put out Fantastic Four and Antithesis. That 4-issue miniseries, I want to say came out, at least 2019, if not a couple years ago, on top of his Batman versus Ra's al Ghul series that DC finally got around to finishing.
Yeah, and that dude at conventions is nonstop drawing. Even when he's not doing commissions, he's drawing something. And I found out this thing. Did you know that he did a movie, I think in the 70s, called Death to the Pee-wee Squad? Have you guys heard of this? I have no idea what it's about,
I think I lived Death to the Pee Wee Squad in junior high school.
But knowing that it Trauma picked it up,
shit!
It's got to be crazy because Trauma.
Lloyd Kaufman does not. Yeah, what the fuck?
There's got to be someone's head explode. Something crazy's got to be happening in this movie. But yeah, him and I think his wife's in it and brother and some artists. I think Gray Morrow is in it.
What?
And yeah, I saw. Yeah, I just heard about this.
Do you guys know what Trauma is? I know Ed and I do.
No, I don't.
Toxic Avenger, the film company.
It's a film company based in New Jersey that basically
Yeah.
specializes in what would I think Ed would lovingly call trash cinema.
Trash cinema, over the top gore,
Yeah.
just boobs and gore and exploding heads,
Yeah.
and like just ridiculous stuff. Lloyd Kaufman, yeah. So if it's under the Trauma banner, and they didn't pick it up back then, but it was like it fell into their distribution. So I gotta see what this movie's all about. I just found out because that's like you said, the cartoonist kayfabe. They had an interview with Rob Liefeld, and Rob Liefeld's like, what? You guys are telling me stuff I don't know? I'm leaving. I got to look up this movie now.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and extend the same courtesy to Neal Adams as well, and let's go around and share our favorite bodies of work by Neal Adams. Ed, how about you take us from here?
Oh man, those covers, like that stuff, I guess like late 70s, that Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. That stuff is probably my favorite, that just visually and just because aesthetically, because I love martial arts films. But as far as like comic work, I would say his I'm not sure the exact storyline, but it is a Ra's al Ghul Batman era, Talia. That whole, Son of the Demon or Daughter of the Demon. Is that right?
Son of the Demon.
It's one of those, I think Son of the Demon as far as interior pages and like prime time stuff. And then like that cover work is just incredible.
Good stuff. Ashley, what about you?
I'm going with those old Batman covers where it's just like the capes just excite me. I don't know how else to describe it. They're just awesome.
All right. See, what about you, man?
I'm definitely going to say the exact same thing. The capes excite me sexually.
Whoa!
Thank you for clarifying. Unnecessarily.
Yeah, no, dude, you can't get over those Batman covers. The the Joker 4-Way Revenge or 5-Way Revenge? Classic. Him and Denny O'Neil made the Joker scary.
Yeah.
Like he was not just a cheeseball dude. Like he ended up being this crazy ass serial killer. Turned on his own men. Love it.
That's a little, is that a red herring? Should I be concerned about that?
Oh no, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
There's no.
I don't need a red
comics,
herring,
man. This just happens in comics. It's not real life. Come on,
Ashley, I need you to have my back on this, okay?
Okay, you do realize her favorite guy is Loki, right? You just asked if Ashley would have your back. She's the first person to totally be like,
It's like never lie to me, right?
it's like, Loki, you've literally stabbed 20 people in the back. I'll never do it again.
Never.
All right. I'll go ahead and share. If you can grab yourself a copy of the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, a collected trade. There's a few out there, but for
hard
the most
to
part, they
find
collect
for cheap.
Yeah, true. There's a few reprints that you could probably, the newer reprints that you could find probably for whatever sticker price. But
Send me a link.
collect. They said, I got you. For the most part, they should all collect his. I think it was like a 13-issue run. Very early
long.
Green Lantern, 76 through 87, and it's just the iconic stories of Green Lantern and Green Arrow going cross country together. And dealing with America's social issues.
It's like Easy Rider, but for comics.
yeah. It always stood out to me, man. And Neal Adams does some great work in that. So that's what we'll say. And definitely, on behalf of the Short Box, we want to wish those legends, may they rest in peace. And, we definitely extend our condolences to the family and friends and fans out there of George Perez and Neal Adams. We've spent a lot of time, pardon me. We spent a good bit of time praising and paying our respects to now former, not even former, but paying our respects to comic book legends. How about we go ahead and celebrate some of the comic legends that are still here with us in the physical realm? Ed, you've got a pretty interesting article to spotlight today.
Yeah, last week they announced that I saw Hollywood Reporter had an article where Frank Miller is starting his own publishing company called Frank Miller Presents, and even has his trademark hat done in that black and white Sin City style. I don't know if you've seen it. It's pretty awesome. And publisher Dan DiDio. I just can't get rid of this guy. He just comes back.
He's been in the shadows for what? He left DC in 2020, and
Jim Lee's like just crushed like a cannon. DiDio! But rumor has it that I guess DiDio and Frank Miller were going to start kind of like an imprint, kind of like Black Label with DC, but now that DC has been bought and sold twice in the last few years, they're now part of Discovery Channel.
Comcast.
So,
who knew? No, just kidding.
Yeah, so and who knows what's going on there, but so and it's a very short article, but there's a couple additions that make it more interesting that I just saw today, but he's going to do a which I'm curious to see is a like a part 2 to Ronin, 1983's Ronin.
Weird.
Which I like. It is weird.
Yeah.
And the comic's weird.
Yeah.
But the comic is like, but this is like looking back and knowing that, okay, he got some Lone Wolf and Cub and he got some heavy metals and he's like, oh man, what am I going to do with this? And then going through Ronin is like, okay, you can see Dark Knight Returns. You can see Sin City, like the birth, the genesis of all that stuff happening. It's not my favorite story-wise, but I like the idea of like a fairy tale, kind of samurai tale crossed with like this post-apocalyptic future. And
it's weird. It's weird in a European kind of way. I think that's why
the hatching is the artwork is very strange. He does a lot of crazy hatching with value, but then you see some of that manga influence. You see the Lone Wolf and Cub influence, and Lynn Varley does some really unique colors because there's like these weird greens and browns for the future. This future, like everyone's, it's bizarre, but you can see the roots of Dark Knight Returns, and then
Samurai Jack.
City. Samurai Jack. He references that as like an influence for Samurai Jack. Tartakovsky.
Yep.
I don't know how
Old
to say his name.
Gendy.
But and then they're doing a Western prequel to Sin City.
Oh,
It's another title.
Sin
which
City,
is
1985, I think it's called.
No, not this. That's
1885.
18 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
1985.
Yeah, that's what.
Wild West.
Bonner's like, look, that's about as far back as brown people want to go.
Like
okay, we don't want to go back further.
I know. I'm like, yo, my young ass thinks that the 1980s was the West.
1985 is where brown guys draw the line. We don't want to go back any further in time.
Yeah.
We do not.
My bad. I meant 1885. I think it's.
Yeah, 1885. I get nervous just saying that word. No,
my bad. It's
it.
supposed to be titled Sin City 1858. My apologies.
So it's interesting they're actually doing a full publishing company rather than just publishing through like an Image or IDW or something like that.
Yeah.
But recently they signed an exclusive deal with Diamond, which means a lot more nowadays, because I just read that IDW is leaving Diamond and they're going to Penguin Random House. So Diamond has lost 3 of the top 5 comic publishers in the last couple of years.
Shit, we could start our own publishing and might get a deal too.
I know.
At this point.
Well, it's a good thing I invested in IDW on Robinhood. Am I right, guys?
So
everything's coming up, Cesar.
Basically, like Image and Dark Horse are the 2 still going through Diamond.
Yeah.
Out of the top 5, which is wild. And Dark Horse just got bought out by a video game company, I believe, overseas.
Oh,
like
no.
A Swedish. So who knows what they're going to do.
Oh, God. This is the same route Valiant went in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, oh, my God. Yeah. A bunch of Nintendo comics nobody wanted.
I'll be honest. When I seen this news, it's kind of like, well, look, if there's any 2 individuals that you want to see make their own comic book company that could probably run it efficiently. I mean, Frank Miller, Dan DiDio, you got the talent and you got the business.
Has the experience and the,
Yeah. Say what you want about how he ran it or what some of his decisions at DC were. It's like still, that is valuable experience that doesn't come around often.
And I know Frank isn't doing too much artistically. I think he's had, health issues of his own. So I'm wondering if it's going to be, and it's all, basically it's just this announcement and then it may come out this year.
Yeah.
There's no real information outside of the 4 titles. So I'm just wondering if I think it's going to be like kind of like what I guess Alan Moore did with ABC, where he kind of kind of gives these premises and ideas and then hands it off to up and coming artists. But having your company named after yourself, I'm just kind of worried because the old Sin City stuff is still going to be cataloged under Dark Horse, and Dark Knight Returns stuff, you can't really do that.
Right.
So he has, I think, the 300 property and Ronin and whatever he comes up with now. So I think this is going to be more of like, I'm just going to kind of make these 1 shot, 2 shots, and then basically try to do kind of like what Mark Millar does, except
Holy Terror too, right?
Yeah, Holy Terror. Yeah, that's going to be the Holy Terror sequel that everyone wants to.
I want to read it. I thought it was great.
There was a Batman story that they rejected.
Yeah.
And
they got a little precious. A
little, yeah.
We can make fun of every other religion except the one that might get us killed.
So I don't know. It might be a 300. I don't know, 400? Who knows? I don't
300.
Know,
that's like 2. The number's 2. That's how many guys were left after the Persians fucked them up.
3. There's less people. That's more impressive. 200. It's the prequel, 50. We just started.
They both look like Dan Didio and fucking Frank Miller. Bunch of Spartans with fedoras.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing, and like it's still kind of nebulous what it's going to be, but it's just, I thought it was kind of like, oh, he's getting it. At this point in his life, he's
more power to him.
Getting into this publishing game,
I'm sure at this point he wishes he would have done it a lot sooner.
Yeah,
considering probably the millions he's made for the other company.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think he wants a bigger piece now.
I will say I am curious because there was a mention in that article about the mission statement for the company is to cultivate a fellowship of artists and writers to mentor, collaborate, and push forward not only each other but the art form as well. I am curious about what other writers and artists.
That sounds way too healthy for Frank Miller. That sounds
that's the PR. Healthy. That's the PR spin.
Okay, that might be Dan Didio. Hopefully, I hope he's got in charge of that department. I feel like Frank Miller might be like, your artwork sucks. See, I helped him. I helped that man. Just like Neal Adams helped me.
Neal did this to me. I'm going to do this to you, kid.
Hey, kid, your artwork sucks. My name's Ivan Reyes, and I've been in the industry for over 20 years now.
Yeah, stick with me, buddy. You might go far. I don't know. We'll see.
You got potential, kid. It's like, I won an Eisner.
Yeah.
Ashley, are you going to be submitting a portfolio to Frank
Oh,
Miller?
man.
Come on. Come on, Ashley. Oh my gosh.
Ashley, Lonnie.
Someone needs to break
Holy
through
Terror 2.
Ashley. And watercolor.
But it's all animals. It's all animals.
Animals. Yeah. It can be like Animal Farm.
Or
Sin City, but for animals.
Oh, Ashley.
Awesome. No. Look. Fuck a Sin City. Give me Testicle City. That's what I want.
Oh.
Well, then I'd have to be
Testicle
involved.
Town.
I thought it was TT. I thought we were getting alliterative.
And I'm all here for that. I say you and Ashley need to get Testicle City pilot issue off the ground and get this shit submitted.
First off, Butter,
it could be the sister city, the Sin City.
Testicle City is so indie that it's too indie for Frank Miller.
Oh, man.
It's too indie. It's so indie it hasn't even been made yet.
That is great. All right, thank you, Ed, for bringing that to our attention. I'll go ahead and close out and spotlight a win for comics, specifically serialized comic podcast at that. DC.
Are you going to say nice things about DC?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and stop recording.
I was joking, and you were like, you let out a genuine yeah.
Edit.
I mean,
I guess,
I'm doing it for Neal and George. All right, I'm doing it for Neal and George.
They both worked at Marvel.
And DC, right? That's the one. That's the one part of their career I don't highlight. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my god!
I literally
I don't acknowledge their DC work.
I don't ever think Neal Adams worked on X-Men. I don't think he did.
Oh man. No, that's when his career stopped, right? He's been missing for a long time.
Yeah.
I kid. All right, but look, DC launched a new podcast, Batman series at that. It's called Batman Unburied. It premiered exclusively on Spotify this week. The first 2 episodes of 10 dropped. And it's being marketed as a psychological thriller. And it's kind of like an Elseworld-style Batman story. It's not your typical Batman story in regards to what I've read in the solicitations. But it being a successful premiere would be an understatement, considering that it soared to the top of Spotify's podcast charts. unseating the Joe Rogan Experience, which has been, no surprise, the streaming service's regular chart topper. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen like the charts, and it's always, I don't even look at the top.
I mean, all you got to say is COVID is real, and you're going to topple Joe Rogan. So, I mean, that's pretty much not hard to do.
It is no small feat to dethrone Joe Rogan for even 1 week in podcasting. I think that said a lot about the quality and production and excitement for this Batman series. But it's had a global appeal and following. It was not just number one in the States, but it was number one in countries like Australia, Brazil, France, the UK, Germany, Italy, Mexico, et cetera, et cetera. They've got 8 localized versions of the podcast. So, of course, there's a U.S. version, but they've got Brazil, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and Mexico version as well. All voiced.
Batman. That's the German version. Ed. That's the German.
Stupid, Ed.
This is Sprockets.
Ed.
What? That's not the danger. It means danger.
I want to go ahead and thank you right now for the newest soundbite that I'll be introducing next episode. I cannot wait to drop that.
No fans of Sprockets, I see.
My name is Dieter.
This is what we dance.
But in regards to the English U.S. version, it's got an all-star lineup, man. You got filmmaker and writer David S. Goyer on the script. You got actors like Winston Duke, a.k.a. M'Baku, voicing Bruce Wayne and Batman. You got Hassan Minaj voicing Riddler. You got Sam Witwer, Darth Maul, our boy Darth Maul.
Nicki Minaj?
Sam Witwer. He's voicing a character named the Harvester, and Gina Rodriguez of Jane the Virgin fame as Barbara Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man, it came out to a thunderous applause and success. I started listening to episode 1 prior to this, and
Did it hurt?
No, not my ear started bleeding.
I'm going to pretend this is Spider-Man.
I got to ask.
You're right. Yeah, I'm glad you did. No, I had a doctor on standby. I was like, look, I'm about to dive into some DC content.
Blood pressure's going up.
Yeah.
Potter crosses himself, and he's like, "Forgive me, Stan Lee, for I have sinned."
It has been Stan Lee candle burning.
It has been 3 days since my last confession. That's okay. Give me 3 true believers and 1 Excelsior.
He's got the Stan Lee rosary.
That's it.
That's funny. I burned the candle with a Jack Kirby approved cigar, like one of the ones he used to smoke. I'm like,
shit.
But anyways, awesome. if you are a fan of the Marvel serial podcast and just kind of any of the I don't know if this is DC's first foray into serialized podcast.
No, dude.
Format.
Have you guys heard the Batman
right?
audio? Yeah, there's the Sandman on Audible. There's the fucking
the one
Batman,
that you championed, the radio show,
the Batman audio series that you can listen to.
That's right.
Oh my God, they're killing it right now.
Well, actually, they are
like nonstop.
This is another notch in their belt.
Like way better than Marvel.
Well, I mean, let's see how it fares out these next few episodes. 3 weeks later, still at number 1 on the podcast chart is Batman Unburied. Oh, you're an asshole, see. Okay, but look, if you've enjoyed any of the comic book podcast series, definitely check this one out. Like I said, it's only 10 episodes. First 2 have been, garnered a lot of attention and love, and why not support, other forms of comic book content. With that being said, I think that's all the topics we've got for this segment today. I want to move into our next segment and spotlight some new comic releases hitting stores next month. So let's go ahead and prepare for a fistful of new comics.
You can either have a mouthful of teeth or a fistful of comics.
What's the matter with me?
Dude, I've been asking. I ask that every single time.
What's wrong with me?
You hop on the show.
Oh man,
Fistful of Comics is the part of the show dedicated to all you Wednesday warriors who loyally frequent your local comic shops every week, as well as newbies looking for a little help and direction on how to spend that hard-earned cash on only the best new comics. This segment is brought to you by Ben Kingsbury, owner of Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville's premier shop for comics, toys, collectibles, and more.
Like we always do with this time.
Really, that sound bump should say, like Ben always does this time, because Ben has curated this week's list of top 3 comics worthy of your time and money. So let's go and cue up the music and go through this list together. All right, the first item on his list is Dark Crisis #1. It's coming out from DC Comics. It's arriving June 7th. by writer Joshua Williamson and artist Danielle Samperi. And as the name suggests, this is going to be the 4th installment of DC's long-running crisis blockbuster events. But I think Ben is better suited to describe this one. So let's hear from Ben. What's Ben got to say about this? Hold up, it's loading. Sorry. Come on, play.
That's what you get for fucking playing Kanye.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Hold on, here we go.
I can barely hear it. Do you guys hear it?
Mm-mm.
I don't hear shit. Hold on. Nope, that was my penis. Yeah, I don't hear anything.
I don't know why it wouldn't be playing.
Well, why don't you know? God damn it, Brian.
I don't fucking know.
That's what we need to isolate. That I don't know. I just don't fucking know, dude. If I heard that shit, I would be crying, laughing because it doesn't sound like you, Potter. That shit did not sound like you.
Hold up. Let me try
oh my god.
I'm just sharing my screen. Let me see if it'll play this way.
Oh, okay.
Tell me if you guys hear it this way. Okay, let me turn this down.
All right.
You guys hear that at least?
No.
Damn that.
Oh, weird.
No, I know what it is. Okay. So I need to. Actually, I don't know why I wouldn't be doing that. I don't know. Damn, that sucks. 'Cause I wanted you guys to. You know, I got it. I'll figure it out. I know what to do. I'm just gonna play it into the speaker.
That's it. Old school, baby. That's the
Damn.
short box way. Adapt and overcome.
Now
We got this can and a string.
Now I definitely
you get that
gotta,
can and string over there.
I got to edit this in now. Shit.
That's
All right,
it.
get ready. Son of a bitch. This was to make my job easier. Okay, here we go.
We all know Marvel does Infinity. Well, DC does Crisis. Crisis on Infinite Earths led to Infinite Crisis, led to Final Crisis, which led to this Dark Crisis coming this summer to a comic book store near you. But why should you get your copy of Dark Crisis from Gotham City Limit? Here is the best reason. We're doing our own exclusive cover with artwork but done by Tyler Kirkham in honor of George Perez, the man, the myth, the legend. May he rest in peace. We did an homage to his famous Crisis on Infinite Earth cover where Superman is holding a dead Supergirl. On the Gotham City Limit exclusive Dark Crisis #1, we have the new Yara Flor Wonder Girl holding a dead Wonder Woman in her arms. It is going to be a story you do not want to miss, and this is one you should take to the limit.
All right. Clearly, Ben was a student of Neal Adams' school of pitching yourself.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I love that
it.
this guy is so excited about it, man. Like I don't. How many comic book shop owners do you know that have half the personality of Ben? You know, like he's all about it.
Damn right. And I've never heard someone describe such a use the word dead so much in a sales pitch. So we got an image of a dead Wonder Girl.
Oh, dude, it was metal as fuck.
Name.
It was awesome. He was like, it was this classic image of
basically. And there is you could definitely buy that variant cover using the link in the off Gotham's website. There will be a link in that in the show notes. All right, next up on Ben's list.
There'll be a link in that in the show notes.
Next up on Ben's list is Cyberforce #1.
Oh, shit.
You didn't hear me. You old guys didn't hear me wrong.
Yeah.
Arriving in shops on June 8th.
Woo-hoo!
This issue will celebrate the 30th anniversary of Cyberforce with the OG creative team, Eric and Mark Silvestri, and Joe Chiodo.
Whoa.
I sure hope they bring up Rye.
Chiodo.
He's delicious.
Oh, Ripclaw. Ripclaw's back, bro.
All right. Let's see how Ben sells
That guy with the
this
3 metal arms, I forgot his name.
That's his name, though. That guy with the 3 metal arms.
Let's see how Ben sells this one.
Are you old? Do you like reliving your childhood through your modern comic book experience? Well, then this is the pick for you. Image Comics presents Cyberforce #1, the 30th anniversary edition, deluxe commemorative of issue #1, done by Top Cow founder Mark S.
I feel
and for
targeted.
those of you who are not old, this is your chance to see a little 90s magic reprinted just for you.
Nice. That's for all you old guys out there.
I feel targeted. I feel targeted.
I don't know.
He knew what he was doing.
Kinda
He knew what he was doing.
A little rude, but that's still cool.
Yeah, real quick. I like how Ben was like Mark S.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to say that name.
You mean Sylvester?
It's not even that hard.
Look, if Bonner can say it, I mean,
Exactly,
come on now.
Ben. Come on. Come
Say
on,
rocket
Ben.
scientist.
All right. Next up, last but not least on Ben's list is one from Marvel. It's New Fantastic Four #1. It's in shops on June 15th. It's the first of a 5-part story with writer and friend of the show, Peter David, and artist Alan Robinson. Marvel decided to capitalize and squeeze out every single drop of one of the best versions of the Fantastic Four from the 90s with this one, but I'll let Ben tell it.
Are you old? Do you like
Oh, man.
Yes, I
That's
am.
the wrong one.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am old.
Oh, no. Did he send the Marvel? Hold up.
He sent it to the other short box dimension. The multiverse.
Are you old? Do you like reliving your childhood through your modern comic book experience? Wait, I think I already did this line, but it's true. The 90s rock, and here is the new Fantastic Four in a brand new 5-part series. Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Hulk, picking up from the legendary 90s storylines written by Peter David. This is a Fantastic Four.
Damn.
Oh, gotcha.
Ben, you got my ass good. I was like, wait, did he send both the same? God. Ashley, I see you over there getting a kick out of these voicemails.
I like them. Ben's a character.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, you guys are old.
All right, so let's go ahead and recap that list once again. From DC Comics, he's got Dark Crisis #1. From Image, Cyberforce #1. And this new Marvel series, New Fantastic Four #1. I want to know from each one of you, which of these 3 selections gets your personal stamp of approval, and what's most likely to probably find their way on your pull list. Ashley, how about you kick us off?
I'm going with that Dark Crisis, that Gotham exclusive variant cover, because the way he sold it, it sounded like my my grandfather, my car salesman grandpa, where he's like, "You're just dumb not to go get this." You know what I mean? It's just stupid if you don't buy this.
I can get behind that. Good stuff. What about you, C?
Oh, come on, dude. Yeah, they come to snuff the rooster. Yeah, yeah. Oh, getting that fucking new Fantastic Four, son. That's so 90s, it's not even funny. It's like you think like, oh, wait, the new Fantastic Four. Well, who is it? It's fucking Ghost Rider, the Hulk, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. Come on,
And Alan
man.
Robinson's has that kind of Art Adams kind of style. So
Yeah.
Is that the one you co-signing, Ed?
I'm going to go with Cyberforce. I want to see some Joe Chiodo and
Can't
some
lose.
Silvestri. Yeah, man.
Can't
Yeah,
lose.
good old Mark
I
S.
want to see what Ripclaw's up to and all the other people. Velocity.
But
I don't remember anybody else.
But straight up, this is just a reprint of issue 1.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some new good stuff in there.
Fair enough,
Come
fair
on,
enough.
man.
I don't mean to be
What
a
are you
blanket.
doing,
My bad.
Butter?
My bad. My bad.
Bro,
My bad.
this is the one he's picked.
You're right. You're right. My
I
bad.
didn't pick it.
I'm gonna I'm gonna ride along with C. I think that new Fantastic Four, just because Peter David, short box alumni. I gotta go out here and support, man.
Shortbox alumni. Jesus
He
Christ.
was on,
Yeah.
If you
All right.
the
he
Who?
was on payroll for a while.
Peter David would be like, who? Who? Short what? I'm kidding. All right. Well, that is the list for today. Listeners, if any of those pique your interest, go out, put them on your pull list, or ask your local comic shops to order it for you. I want to give a big shout out to Ben and Gotham City Limit Shop for the help this week. And remember, even if you don't live in Jax, you can still shop at the Limit by visiting their online store, which is linked in this episode's show notes, or shopping their community marketplace on the Whatnot app. I'm sure you can go ahead and get some pre-orders or even order the Gotham City Limit variant that Ben brought up for Dark Crisis via the Gotham City Limit shop. So if you're interested in that and you want to bring home a piece of Jack's comic culture and whatnot, go ahead and order that. But next up, we got some fan mail to read in response to last week's episode prompt, which asked our listeners to match a member of Marvel's Illuminati with the host of this show. We got some good ones. And we'll also be discussing the new Doctor Strange movie for a collaborative Champion Season segment. But first, we're going to treat everyone to a quick music break provided to us by Mecha the Marvelous. The track is called Farewell. It's a new one, so enjoy the music, and we'll continue the show when we come back. All right. I'm good to just keep it rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and send you. I'll go ahead and send you the emails right now.
Okay.
So
I was wondering. I was like, oh.
Yeah. We'll do that. I'll send you the emails, and then we'll do emails, and then I'll let you know when we transition to.
Oh, and see, I don't know if you knew, but Danny Elfman did the score for Doctor Strange too.
Oh shit!
Oh man,
we're going into Darkman territory.
Oh man, I'm not gonna say too much, but someone has a either a whammy pedal or a whammy bar. There's some stings in there that are.
Oh
awesome.
my god! I can't wait. It's a dead man's party. All right.
Both of them should be hitting your inbox here soon. Ashley, you could keep it going?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yep. I see T-Mixes, and
Parker Robbins. Parker's email.
Okay, there it goes.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get us back from music break. Yo. Once again, the music you just heard was done by Mecha the Marvelous. He's got a new project dropping in June. You can pre-order that on iTunes right now or listen to more of his music on Spotify and Apple Music. There is a link to his entire discog in this episode's show notes. Go and show some love to our boy Mecha. We are now going to read some fan mail. Like I said prior to music break, last week in our Marvel's Illuminati Spotlight episode, I gave the prompt to our listeners to match a member of Marvel's Illuminati with each member of the short box.
Why would you do that?
Because you weren't here for... Oh, last episode we got the emails back about the Moon Knight prompt, where I was asking everyone to match one of Moon Knight's personalities to us. We got those. I'll actually share those with you.
I want to know, yeah. Oh, yeah. Really.
Yeah, there's some good ones. But I want to do the same thing for Marvel's Illuminati, because those emails were so good, and this has been a lot of fun to see the creativeness and... the creativeness and some of the wild things people are writing and the personalities they match up. So I did promise I'd give away some comic books. So let's go ahead and see some of the submissions we got, and we'll decide from there. See, I turn it over to you, man.
Okay, so this email is from Parker Robbins, and this is the Shortbox Illuminati and Jacksonville's Multiverse of Madness. He writes, "Greetings, humans. I have observed your world, and many like it for eons. I walk the plane of the infinite multiverses and watch countless cosmic stories unfold, too numerous to count, and see them end and begin again. But I have sworn never to interfere because I am the Watcher. As I look across the different universes, I begin to see cracks begin to form, and different realities begin to spill into one another, creating an amalgam of destruction. The sources of these cracks are because a so-called Sorcerer Supreme, Stephen Strange, and Nexus being called Wanda Maximoff are playing with powers and chaos magic they could never understand. I will be keeping a close eye on that story as it unfolds. But let us look in a unique universe where once humans with amazing and extraordinary gifts were only read about in collectible tomes now race across the sky, causing havoc in their wake. I look further and see a meeting of the minds trying to find a strategy to combat the chaos in the streets. 5 newly empowered podcasters. Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm reading a little bit ahead. 5 newly empowered podcasters with the powers of some of Earth's 616 most powerful heroes. First, we see a man with a trident calling himself Drew, voicing his opinions with both volume and passion. It seems Namor's persona is more evident in him. Seated across is one called the Marvel OG, putting his new elastic powers from Reed Richards to good use. He begins to reach around the room, reaching for book after book on info of newly spotted villains and how to take them down. Finally, 2 of the men seem to be at the far end of the table watching the third. The first one seems to be gifted with Tony Stark's affinity for tech and is wearing a new version of the Iron Man suit. His name is Botter. The next has the... shout when you hear your name. The next has the powers of Doctor Strange, but his mannerisms and speech are unlike anything I've heard before. He keeps speaking as if he were intoxicated and yelling for Wong, who is nowhere in the room. The other people in the room just yell, "He's not here, Cesar." The third man seems that's an old one, right?
That's wow.
That's a Christmas special reference.
Wow.
The third man seems to have been given the power of Black Bolt. His name is Ed, and he sits quietly and wrestles with the responsibility of the great power he has been given.
I like that.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Yeah, Ed, he's not going to interrupt me. I'm Tony Stark.
Oh, I can't say anything. I'm Black Bolt. Oh, too late. Oh, no.
Except Ed's just going to say, like, shut up really quietly and just decimate all of us.
Out. Yeah.
We're all dead. As I leave this reality to go and observe the next. Wait, there seems to be a sixth person in the room, hidden from view. There, watching the proceedings in this world, is the new Loki variant. And it would seem she is very proficient in her use of the new God of Mischief powers. Her name is Ashley. Only time will tell what she will do with these new powers and what chaos she will bring. But I shall not interfere, for I am the Watcher. This is pretty good, Parker Robinson.
That was good. I like it. I like it.
I went on a journey there. That was great.
Yeah, you really took us.
Yeah.
We need some sound design on that one. That's good. Good stuff, Parker. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we got one more email.
One more here. All right. This is from T-Mix. Yo! What up, Shortbox? Was great to hear someone other than Drew hosting with Botter last week.
Wow.
For the record, I made that joke. I made that joke last episode.
Hey, hold on a second. Sarah's texting me. Baby stuff. Give me a sec, guys. Sorry. I gotta feed her and probably gonna go on a little walk in a little bit. So,
Coolio. And we're getting to a good stopping point for you, see.
Okay. All right. This is from T-Mix. The subject is Free Comic Book Day. Yo! What up, Shortbox? Was great to hear someone other than Drew hosting with Botter last week. Ha! Kinda sad Ashley lost her connection during the Illuminati talk because Namor Stanning is the best. Although not in the Illuminati trade, Namor vs. Iron Man ahead of Planet Hulk was classic Namor. Yesterday was my first free comic book day. Oh, wow. It was great. It was jammed, but still had a lot of fun. I took my girls, 4, 2, and a newborn, with me, so we had a fun time picking out some comics. Getting them started young. Yeah, you're irresponsible. Good for you.
Brought the whole squad, too.
I know, right? Taking a newborn to the fucking comic book shop. You need help.
I guess he wanted them to be accustomed to BO really quick.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to a super spreader event. Where's my child? Okay. No, I'm just giving him shit. Because it's B. All right. Okay, now for the prompt aligning the Shortbox crew to the Illuminati. Cesar, Doctor Strange of the Shortbox crew. C is the only guy that read/indulge in the mystic arts, and I feel like he's the easiest to align. Though Parenthood might change it. Not at all. I still have my Aleister Crowley books. Botter, Iron Man. Stark sees himself as the de facto leader of any group he's a part of, even when amongst equals. Tony often
going for the throat. Damn,
this is some fucking hard shit. Harder than anything I could ever say. Tony also doors the behind the scenes work that no one else truly appreciates. That is true. But really what got me was Tony saying he was the smartest, and that's Botter saying, that's interesting. See, multiple times. That's interesting. Ed is Mr. Fantastic. Stark is smart, but Mr. Fantastic is on a whole nother plane. Cred Ed drops comic book knowledge that often leaves the crew speechless. Facts.
Absolutely. I get behind that.
Ashley is Professor X. Ashley is so deep. Ed and I are laughing for horrible reasons. Ashley is deeply connected artist in an industry that still carries negative connotation among society, kind of paralleling the mutants? ? I don't think comics are stigmatized anymore, T-Mix, but I like it. He's right.
Yeah, their movies making billions of dollars now.
Yeah, he says, yeah, it's a stretch. But let's be honest, too. Of all the Illuminati, only Professor X could one-up the other members constantly with his powers.
Big time.
It's true. Drew Namor. Namor has no restraint, gets emotional real quick. Damn, it's like he knows Drew.
They
You
met?
got Namor twice.
I know. He Iron Man twice, too, for Potter.
So too does DC Drew that's a deep cut there, DC Drew.
Wow.
So too does DC Drew when a topic of deep importance gets dissed. Imperious Rex. Hasta la próxima, mis amigos. T-Mix. P.S. I know C doesn't listen because he, quote, lives the show, unquote. But just in case, best parenting advice, ignore everyone's opinions because there's two for every topic. You guys will figure it out. Fuck yeah, dude. Thanks, man. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
he's 100% right. Damn.
He's the group psychologist.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I keep asking for it, for these prompts for them. Sometimes I'll end the show and I'm like, man, maybe I could be a little bit more less conceited or something.
I know. Shit.
That was good stuff.
That was good.
Well, I guess if we had to pick a winner, what's everyone's vote? I'm gonna go. I'm going to set it off with Parker. The fact that he gave us
a story.
novel
There's a narrative.
presentation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like
he went above and beyond on that one.
T-Mix has won like the last 5 of these too. Right? So, I'm gonna give someone else a shot.
Well, that's because T-Mix is vying for his own dedicated segment, and I mean he kind of owns the email segment.
T-Mix is fine. Look, he's a dad. He's trying to struggle. He's trying to set a future up for his daughters.
I respect it.
You know,
I respect it. Ashley, are you in agreement with who you got, T-Mix or Parker?
Yeah, I like them both, but I like the Loki variant. I think that was cool.
Yeah, that was a good twist.
Yeah, oh, you would, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And
those deep cuts.
Yeah,
those
fucking
long-time listeners.
Dog hair having lasagna, windshield having.
George, dude,
George Perez.
Drunk Doctor Strange was how long ago?
Oh my God, years!
Man.
Yeah, we got to reward those long-time
that's
listeners.
Deep cut.
That's like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
And definitely a big shout outs to T-Mix for that too, man.
Yeah,
I always do appreciate seeing his email come through the inbox. But once again, thank you so much, Parker. Thank you so much, T-Mix. I'll get those comics out to you, gentlemen. And to everyone else, that is our emails for today, man. We'd love to have some more to read that aren't by just T-Mix. Right into the show by clicking the link in this episode's show notes or writing a short email and sending it to the shortboxjacks@gmail.com.
And they will get read. Yes.
Yeah, they will absolutely get read. See, I think this is where we unfortunately depart because we're about to enter some spoiler territories, and we don't.
Yeah,
want
I
that
haven't
for
seen
you,
the
buddy.
movie yet, man. So I'm about to bow out. But also, me and my wife are going to take the baby out for a little stroll around the neighborhood. You know. So.
Hell yeah! Tell her Happy Mother's Day, man.
Yep. I shall.
Awesome. All right, brother. It's been a pleasure having you on, dude. I'll holler at you later.
All right. Hey, love you guys.
Later, buddy.
Bye.
See y'all.
Bye.
All right, listeners. C has hopped off the call only because we are getting into spoiler territory. We've decided amongst ourselves to do a joint champion collaboration. We're going to talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So consider this your spoiler warning before we officially get started. If you haven't seen the movie, we will be talking major plot points, nitty-gritty details. We don't want to ruin the movie for you. So do yourself a favor and either fast forward to the very end or just come back next week. But here we go. We're going to jump into Champion Season.
Champion Season.
All right, and just like I said, we are here to champion Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Ed, Ashley, have either of you seen it twice yet or have any plans to see it again here soon?
I saw it Thursday, and I have tickets for Tuesday.
Same.
Ooh.
Me too. I'm going to go see it at Sunray on Tuesday.
I saw it Saturday morning, 9:30 yesterday, because I had a full day. But
Hey, look,
I might see it next weekend.
You got to knock that movie out early. It's Yeah, honestly, it's not the longest MCU movie.
No.
I think it was just right a little over 2 hours, but it wasn't like 2.5 like some of these other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I guess, Ashley, let's just, how about you kick us off and tell us, like, overall thoughts on the movie. How did it sit with you?
So the very beginning of it was it was just so much CGI that it was kind of a lot. But it was, I think overall the movie was so, like, I'm surprised with how much Sam Raimi is in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
totally,
it just felt like such a Sam Raimi movie. And I think the part where that monster thing's like eyeball gets popped out. I think that was
McGrath.
Yes, that was my point where I was like, okay, maybe they're going to let him have more control over this than I thought they would. And then it was just so much more Sam Raimi than I thought it was going to be. I loved it.
Yeah. I would go on to say, to your point, that this is one of the most unique, I think definitely looking, but tonally, unique tonal MCU films out of all the MCU films. It just felt like such a departure from like the usual kind of formula that we see. I mean, just from the style, the tone, as well as like just I think just pacing too. I don't know, how did you guys feel as far as like the pacing? Because I felt like we hit the ground fucking running marathon.
I thought there's a couple scenes that were kind of weird, but that's me nitpicking. But I thought this movie, 2 hours flew by because it hit the ground running. And I see what you're saying about the CGI, but it's one of those things that's like, it's just kind of how things are going to be now, unless something changes. Yeah. But the Sam Raimi moment for me is when he, Dream walks into the zombie. The zombie. Oh my god! Yeah. And he has the cloak of the evil spirits like flying around.
That was insanely badass. That was
like this is Sam Raimi's idea. He wrote this in.
I wish I could accurately quote the way Cesar does his heavy metal voice, but that shit was so heavy metal. Seeing
when
that
he does like the pose and all the spirits are like coming out. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible.
And they kept doing all the close-ups of the eyes.
Yeah. And then just the when they're being chased down, it's like she's the shape. She's like Jason and like Michael Myers just like stalking them, just coming after them, going through the doors. This is awesome.
I found myself screaming at the screen as they're like sitting waiting for her to bust through the door. I'm like, fucking run, you idiot.
That's the one moment I thought was like, okay, this doesn't.
Yeah, they're just gonna watch her.
It seemed like a long time, too long, too many beats before that next scene happens. They're just like waiting. It's like, okay,
let's see if she can bust through this door. So, I mean, no surprise here. I usually take notes on just about everything. And this was a movie that I went in and I was like, you know what? I'll probably try to take some mental notes and just leave it at that. But the amount. At the speed at which things were happening and how much they were throwing at you in the beginning, I ended up writing notes on this fucking pizza box. I ordered like a flatbread pizza, and I had like a pen, but I had no paper, and I was like, I need to jot this stuff down. I'm gonna forget. So I wrote a bunch of shitty notes in the dark. So I'm gonna try to see some of the words I ended up writing.
Oh, you wrote this in while you were watching it,
dude? I did the same thing for Batman. It's just like I know. I guess for me, it's like I want to have some things to reference.
Yeah,
and I know I'll remember the later half because it's the last stuff I'll see, but I'm always forgetting like some of the bigger things in the beginning. But I guess I've got here. Wanda is boss. Yes, Wanda. I was telling Drew that the trailers, in hindsight, are so misleading.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna team up.
Yeah, you're almost like, oh, awesome, they're gonna team. You know that there's something going on with Wanda. You know that she's going to be a point of conflict at some point, but I didn't think we were going to see her this extreme.
Oh man,
and
it's so great, just that quick turn. It's like, you didn't say her name, did you? Nope. like death world.
I think one of the on that topic, one of the minor critiques I will say is that it was almost like too fast. I kind of wish there was more time to just kind of slow down, kind of build the story and context. Because I will say there's almost like this movie almost has a prerequisite, which is you should have watched WandaVision to really get the full scope of like why Wanda is doing this, the pain that she's in. Like, you almost have to really be sold on it by watching that series. Like, of course you could watch this and get the point of like, oh, she's looking for her kids. But I think they really drive home the point with that Disney Plus series.
Yeah, and then just knowing like, and I think you appreciate her power more if you see WandaVision, because that show, she didn't even know what a rune was.
Yeah.
And then there's like a monster covered in runes, invisible, that she's summoning, and she's just destroying like an unstoppable, like the Omega level mutant that she is. She's just terrorizing, and her performance is great, just going back and forth with the different versions.
The show.
And I thought she did well in WandaVision because of the different, like when they did the sitcom parodies. Yeah. And man, she is just something else. And I'm hoping she's back, because I don't think she's gone. But I'm hoping that she's back, because she's a great character.
Yeah, I felt like this one didn't really insult your intelligence as a viewer. I think I almost like challenged you to fill in the blanks. It's like, look, we're not going to spend a lot of time with contact or giving you a backstory and going to detail of who these characters are or why they're doing certain things. It's like, look, it's magic. If you watch WandaVision, great. We're going to keep things moving. And I enjoyed that, but there was some parts where I was like, man,
America MacGuffin is, I mean,
dude, I said this, I actually got that down. America Chavez.
But it's a good
Human
way
MacGuffin
to introduce that character. She's right, scene one, she's there. You basically, you get a little bit of backstory, but it's a good way to introduce this brand new character without a lot of exposition and a lot of backstory. It's just that one scene from that Star Trek planet she's from, their folks, and then I thought she was really good too, but it
doesn't do anything for the Save the Bee causes, though. I will say, I painted bees in a very weird light. Ashley, when you think back to the movie, what's one or maybe two? What scene comes to like mind immediately that really has resonated and stuck with you?
Immediately, so the first thing. When I think the first thing that I thought of when I woke up the next morning was the Black Bolt part.
Oh my God! Oh. Yes, that shit was insane. They would show it.
His head just like pops from the inside. Oh.
It was pretty. I mean, considering for like a Disney movie, it was pretty graphic the way that he just like imploded himself and died.
Yeah, and they implied that Captain Carter gets cut in half with the shield.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Yeah, it's like, man, she is not messing around.
Yeah.
That whole scene was brutal, but then of course like the Mr. Fantastic.
I definitely let out a cheer. Like I was one of those guys at the theater that let out a cheer when
and that's who everybody wanted as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, everyone like clapped quickly in my movie theater.
And then he got all fruit roll up stretched out, and killed. And
like those pull and peel Twizzlers.
Yeah, like or the mozzarella, like
string cheese.
I thought I wrote down the line precisely, but Wanda was dropping some heavy bars. Like she was dropping some bars when she told Reed or asked him, something.
They still have a mother?
Yeah, do they have a mother? And he's like nervously, yeah, they have a mother. She's like, great, they'll have someone to mourn with. Like what? Hardcore, man, hardcore. And I will admit too on the topic of cameos. Seeing Patrick Stewart in full, even though you knew he was gonna, they already hinted and confirmed he was in the movie, but to see him roll out
and
in the
Danny
big chair,
Elfman does that X-Men theme when he's rolling up.
Yeah. It was still a big moment. That was another big applaud moment there. But yeah, Ashley, I'm right there with you. I knew seeing that Black Bolt sequence in the theaters, I was like, this is going to be the moment that really sticks with me, because it was so. And to Ed's point, maybe this is you can confirm like if this is a Sam Raimi thing or maybe just a horror kind of movie thing to do, but just the amount of shots that they lingered on. I thought they lingered on a lot of like those kind of really gruesome scenes, like with Captain Carter, like just kind of keeping the camera on her and seeing her reaction without showing the gore.
Yeah,
I think made for excellent mood.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that kind of makes you just uncomfortable, where it's like lingers just 1 or 2 seconds a little longer than you're comfortable with. Yeah, that's a total horror movie thing.
Yeah. Ed, same question to you. Any other any scenes that stood out to you or have kind of been living in your mind rent free?
Man, I still like the fight with the Shumagarathi eyeball monster or whatever they're calling it, because it's a Conan character. They can't really call him that. I don't know what they're calling him that. But that fight, seeing Wong get to do, it's another kind of thing with like there's as a Sorcerer Supreme, I was hoping a little more from Wong. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he was in it and in things like that, and he got to shine a little bit in that fight with the eyeball monster. But that's one of my criticisms of it, and not seeing the current 616 Mordo, what he's doing. And kind of because he's been just gone forever.
And that goes to my point about that trailer. You watch that trailer and you think, oh, they're going to continue on the Mordo story that was left off of from the first movie. And that's not really the case. He maybe had, 10, 15 minutes of time. And his defeat was that he was just too short to make the jump.
Yeah. He couldn't do parkour his way out of that little. Yeah, and just that and the basically I was not expecting Scarlet Witch to just kill the Illuminati in this other universe. That one and
I thought it was going to be a setup for so much more, but it's like I really doubt they revisit this idea.
Well, this reality's gone, and then
there's nothing left to revisit for the record. Like there's no pieces.
I think it was another Raimi moment with the Doctor Strange, like the evil Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
they're basically taking the music notes and then throwing them as blades. It's like, man, that's so freaking cool.
Thank you. Okay, because I thought that scene
and
was
the music was playing while the notes were being thrown.
I thought that scene was so interesting, and a few other folks that I've talked to did not feel the way. They felt it was corny, it was out of place. But to me, it's like you get a chance to play around with so much when it comes to Doctor Strange because his powers are magic. So it's like we
anything
can do anything.
Goes. Yeah, anything goes. That's something you would see. I could see like Steve Ditko doing that, like having him pull notes from a chord book or a sheet music and just throwing them at somebody.
Isn't it the Crazy Jane from Doom Patrol? Like one of her like personas or whatever can like say the words and then like project them at you and kill you. So that's what it reminded me of. Like it's not like that out there. I've seen it before.
And then like oh man. That name just escaped my head, but there was a rumor from Umbrella Academy. She basically can tell you, like, hey, I heard your head explode, and your head, I heard a rumor that.
Right. I also managed to write set design, it brings back that the universes, and that's what's been one of my favorite aspects of Doctor Strange is like the visual. The visual storytelling too, but some of these set designs and places that they were taking us. I immediately think of when they go into that universe and meet, evil Doctor Strange, that staircase with the waterfall and the water was gorgeous. And speaking about water, watching Wanda, travel through the puddles and the reflections was...
pulling people through. Yeah, that's like
was awesome. And then even watching, Doctor Strange and America Chavez... crash through so many different realities and seeing like different style, like the painted and the black and white. Yeah, it was like there was it was like I said at the beginning a marathon, but it was a visual buffet for my eyeballs. It's like there was so much to look at and so much to take in, and I think that's why I'm watching the second. Doing my second viewing so soon.
In case you miss something.
Yeah, it's like I know I took in as much as I could, but it's like so much was just being tossed at you. It's worth a second
it's like
viewing.
Sam Raimi is like, how this is Ashley's. Like you can do a painting with just a handful of like 2 or 3 colors and get a painting out of it, but he's using like every tube in the pack.
Yeah. He even got Bruce Campbell in there.
Yeah, and they do like a cool an Evil Dead 2 tribute where he's punching himself, like because that's when he cuts his hand off. So yeah, was it Pizza Papa?
Pizza balls, man.
Pizza balls.
What's his name? His name's Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the movie in I went and seen it in Dolby Cinema, and this is me sounding like a cranky old man, but at some points it was too loud. It was like too immersive, too loud. I'm like, I can't hear. Ashley, did you see it in any like IMAX or any special type of feature?
I don't think I did, just because I saw it Thursday night, so it's kind of limited, like what was still available that wasn't like front row, like making you motion sick.
Whatever the Cinemark XD is, I don't know what that's considered.
Yeah.
Dude, Cinemark's got a huge theater or screen. I went when I went to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I seen it in that, and it was like I felt like I was in the movie myself and whatnot. I've also got a note here that I was surprised that, and this once again kind of goes to maybe my very slight critique, which was a lot thrown at you, not a lot of soap parts to like let it breathe, but the fact that they did incorporated like the incursions, which is a big premise of one of my favorite, for Secret War and Jonathan Hickman's Avenger run, which carries on the Illuminati story that we spotlighted last episode, but that's like a big plot point. I mean, everything about Hickman's Avengers run is centered on that, on this concept of multiverses crashing into each other, and the heroes having to make the hard choice of what universe lives or whatnot. And that story was told, I think, in 2 different series and all over the course of almost, I want to say at least a year, maybe closer to 2 when you consider that it leads into Secret War. But they managed to take this giant concept and this large comic plot line, which is very nuanced if you know anything about Jonathan Hickman, and they just gave you like the fucking digest version.
Yeah.
I thought that was a lot of information to portray and still keep things moving along. So Ashley, what about you? You got any what are the words you got to share about this movie? Actually, let me ask this. Did it meet any expectations that you had? Did it blow them through the roof? I mean, like overall thoughts on it or closing remarks on it?
I would say that it's like an MCU movie, and they have a specific way that they do things, and I feel like they really stretched it for this movie, and it makes me happy that we can do stuff like this. It has like a Sam Raimi tone to it, and you can tell it's his movie. That's like part of the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about that because there's only been, I would say, Sam Raimi.
Taika too, for sure. Yeah,
they kind of have their flair to it. And I know, and I think they've been kind of playing it safe, but I think we can experiment more and we can let the directors, like I said, okay, you have to have the steak and potatoes, but whatever seasoning you guys want on it. You still have to have this base, but you can add your own flourishes to it and make it your own. So I'm thinking with the success of, and this had a pretty big opening weekend, with the success of this movie and like the Guardians of the Galaxy has been good. It's like I'm hoping they let the directors kind of take over use their vision and kind of make it their own movie, but still keeping the source material and not letting there's like a balance, with, okay, this is what we have to tell, but this is your creative vision, and kind of meet in the middle somewhere. And I think the more they let the directors, it's like, why hire these guys if you're not going to let them do what their specialty is or what their what their strengths are?
I agree.
You can hire anybody. So.
I hope this continues the precedence of them being able to see a more diverse and unique MCU films, tonally, stylistically, and all that good stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and even like action parts aside, I thought they did a great job of really making you empathetic towards Wanda. Even though she was doing some extreme stuff,
killing,
to say the very least. You couldn't blame her. It was almost like, maybe not justified isn't the correct word, but you definitely felt empathetic to her cause. And even watching Steven's kind of character arc, and him kind of coming to grips with his past and his own kind of love life too.
Well, his finds out it doesn't work anywhere. Like that's the thing. It's like him and Christine just do not work in any multiverse. Mm-hmm. But like with Wanda, you see like she basically, that's what kind of set her off. Like, and then she's using the Darkhold, which is already kind of screwing with her head, on top of the the incident in WandaVision. It's like, it's
they double down into that, like that mystic or magic corner of the MCU. I think Doctor Strange 1 and then WandaVision helped build a foundation and kind of give you an idea of what encompasses that. But I thought this one was like them leaning all the way into it. Giving us great movie. And
for me, it's like the weirder, and this is the kind of the stuff even in the comics that I like. I like the monsters. I like the weird characters. So this is like right up my alley.
Agreed. All right. So actually, it sounds like it's safe to say
for sure.
This movie definitely respected your time. Same. I figured, I'm going to watch it a second time, and I'll probably figure out where it ranks. But I know for me, it's going to rank pretty highly, just from a sense of being able or leaving that theater with that sense of like, damn, I really got to experience something. I felt like I walked away with like, trying to catch my breath, processing things, and it just made for a good movie experience. I highly recommend if you can see this movie in theaters and get that theater experience, it's well worth it.
And then the post-credits, we got to talk about Charlize Theron.
Man, I'm so excited to see her in the MCU. She is awesome.
Yeah.
She is. I think about her performance in Mad Max.
I won my Oscar. I'm going to dress up like in purple and being awesome.
And she comes at a great time too, right? Like the fact that Steven closes that chapter, and closes that chapter with Christine, opens up the perfect timing to introduce, and I believe she plays Clea, who in the comic books has been like his on and off love interest.
They were married.
Oh, that too. Okay.
And then she is also, I didn't recognize her at first, but then, because I haven't thought about that character, and then the version I saw has like white hair and red, but then she kind of evolved into the purple when she takes over the dark dimension. And Dormammu. She's Dormammu's niece.
Oh, damn.
So we can, and it looks like they're going to the dark dimension, so we could see Return of Dormammu.
Imagine.
It's like, oh, God, not this guy again.
Dormammu, I came to strike a bargain. I want to marry your niece.
Why are you asking me? Ask her dad. This is not the uncle's job.
Yeah, and she went straight to action, man. That's like the roles I love seeing.
And it's
Charlize
cool
Theron
him just like cutting the screen, and then it's like just rips open like paper. That's so fun.
I will admit, I did find the ending of the movie, where Steven is, closing the chapter, he's fixing the watch, he's ready to move on with life. He leaves and then falls to his knees on the streets of New York, and that third eye opens. That was surprisingly like
the
just
eyeball.
uncomfortable.
That's another like horror kind of, and that's like a Sam Raimi thing too.
Yeah,
because
with the eyeballs and the food that kept popping up.
Drag Me to Hell. Did you see that? That in the last scene where it's like, oh,
that was such a good
happy
movie.
End. This is there's something. This is. Yeah, it's like she's literally got dragged to hell. I mean, it was like they spoiled it in the title.
Well, what I guess I'm saying is that I kind of would have been okay with, I guess between that and then the very next, end credit scene, it being, we see him back to, just walking again, and it's Clea, telling him that he needs to come with her. It was kind of jarring. 1 minute it leaves us like, like the suspense of like, what the fuck? Oh shit, he's not doing all right. But something's going on.
But in the comic, he does have the third eye when he's in the astral plane.
I guess it seemed like a big deal.
Just because of the camera. That's like a Sam Raimi.
And the next scene, he's like, all right,
that was in his contract.
Let's go ahead and go. Let's go ahead and go do this. And he's got the third, like the third eye kind of blinks, like,
Well,
it was a weird. It was a weird sequence to me.
Well, the thing, and it's with them, it's like there's almost like a little flirt thing. It's like, unless you're afraid, let's go.
Yeah. And but I did laugh at the Bruce Campbell extra credit end scene. The second end scene. That was pretty fun. Yeah. Overall, I had a great time.
Great time. That was fun. That was a fun movie.
Awesome. All right, Short Box Nation. As you can tell, we're getting to wrapping up this episode. But if you've watched Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, we would love to hear your thoughts. Hell, if you got a killer champion that we should check out, share it with us, or tell us if you try any of the recommendations that we shared today in response to Neal Adams and George Perez. Right? We'd love to hear. We'd love to have you join in on that conversation. Tell us about all of these things in a short email and send it to our inbox at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com, and we'll read it next episode. Ashley, I'm gonna look to you to help us close this out. Do you have any words of wisdom? Did you learn anything new? Anything last remarks you want to share?
No, I think it was interesting that we were celebrating the lives of George Perez and Neal Adams in the same podcast. That they both passed so close together, but I think that was definitely my favorite part, was to talk about those guys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. It felt good. It felt good to share that, man. So once again, listeners, if you want to share some words about George Perez and Neal Adams and what they meant to you, we'd love to hear that as well. Well, with that being said, there you have it, Shortbox Nation. Thank you for hanging out with us this week, but it's time to close out the show. We'll be taking a break next week, but we'll be back after that for another installment of our Artist Spotlight series. This time we'll be covering a famous comic book couple. The poll for this one just wrapped up. And the votes for our patrons are in. This is kind of a surprise to you and Ashley, Ed. I should have brought this up on break, but I forgot. We went right into emails. So for our listeners, the candidates were Mike and Laura Alred, Frank Miller and Lynn Varley, and Terry and Rachel Dodson. We wanted to dedicate the next Artist Spotlight episode to famous and impactful comic book couples, and those three duos came to mind. So we let our patrons vote, and it came to a tie, actually. Mike and Laura Alred are tied with Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. Now, I'd like to propose a tiebreaker. Since it is a tie amongst our listeners, it's up to us to break that. And I'd like to propose a solution and see if you guys are on board. Seeing as we covered Elektra Assassin, I believe it was last year, and we had our friend Corey Torgeson on, and we spent a good bit of time talking about Frank Miller and Lynn Varley and their style and how they enhanced each other and things like that. I would like to propose that we maybe break this tiebreaker and cover Mike and Laura Alred. We haven't talked a lot about either one of them. I think their body of comic work are some of the funnest and most zaniest things out there in the best way possible. What do you guys think about covering Mike and Laura Alred?
I'm down.
Week? Or next episode.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, we never covered the Allreds at all, I don't think. Or even
for sure. I think they'll make for a great episode. Yeah. So that's official, listeners. We're going to cover Mike and Laura Alred when we come back from our
and
short
it's not
break.
like they're off the table. It's not like we can't.
Yeah, we can
back.
easily.
Yeah,
exactly. We make the rules, right?
Yeah.
All right, but if you can't wait that long to hear from us, we do have a special bonus episode we dropped earlier this month. It's called Comic Shop Stories Volume 1. We might make this a recurring series, but this first episode is all about Ed and Ashley's time working at a comic shop and them sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly side of working in comic retail. You can listen to that and all of our Patreon exclusive episodes when you sign up for our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/theshortbox and support the podcast for as little as $1. We'd appreciate it. In the meantime, give us a follow on social media if you aren't part of the bandwagon already. But most importantly, take care of yourselves. Have a great day, and please continue to make mine and yours Shortbox. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. Boom.
Yeah. I had zero connection
issues. That was a long one, but that was a lot of fun.